Hello everybody and welcome to Security Plus 701. I am your instructor, Jeff Rosario. Again, I was glad to meet all of you at kickoff and see you in class on Monday. So, as you can see here, we're going to be going over the lab environment, and you should be seeing these videos every week. You should be looking at them. You should be trying to review them. If you run into issues, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to explain it in class. But these are the fundamental tools that we will give you, so that you can review your labs at any time. You can also look over any steps that you may have that you're not clear on, and to see if you have any issues, and you can tell me where those issues are. I'll try to, if I encounter an issue in here, I will tell you how to do the workaround for it in the meantime. So let's get started. So in this, we have a couple of interfaces that you're going to be working with in this environment. One of them is going to be a Kali Linux VM and a Windows 10, or even in some cases, a Windows Server VM. So a Windows virtual machine that is a workstation is going to be PC 10. You may see PC 10 labeled as a server. You also will see something as a Kali Linux client, and that will be labeled Kali. Let's hit next to go on. So in this interface, what you're going to see is a couple of tabs at the top here. And right now, at the top, you see instructions is highlighted. These are the instructions that you can go back through and check off. There's numbered steps, and there's even subsets that you will need to complete in certain labs. This is specifically the resource tab. And this is going to, if we select it, we're going to see the username and password for our Kali Linux VM. We will also see our Windows PC where it says PC 10. I will tell you this, and the big misconception of this, if you haven't used this interface before, a lot of times you're able to use this T. It will not work in Linux. It will only work in Windows. So Windows operating systems, if you see these little type text T's that you can populate answers, they will normally work. However, they will only work in Windows operating systems, not Kali Linux. Again, keep repeating myself on that just because there's always a lot of questions on this. So once we have clicked on the resource tab, as I said on the instructions page, you're going to have these numbered steps. You need to check them off in order to see this task bar complete. If you get to the end of the lab and you are grading, you will see that there is probably a step you missed if you didn't get 100%, and you need to just go back and check that step off. Okay. Also, there are certain questions that are going to be given throughout the module that will contribute to the scoring of your lab. So be careful of that, and I will do my best to highlight those and help you work around those issues if you have some. So after this, we already checked off step 1. We're going to go to step 2, and as you can see, we're looking at the instructions tab, and we are going to check this off because we've already talked about it. Now, this help tab is basically going to tell you some support information if you need it for the lab interface, so you can submit a support request. As far as Perscolis is concerned, you will report those to me. I will report those over to our back-end team, and they will let me know what is the resolution to that issue. So let's go back to our instructions page, and let's go ahead and check off help. And beside this, you can actually make the fonts right here. You can make the fonts bigger or smaller depending on your choosing how you want to see. You will have to resize you can also resize your windows so that if you have some large font, you can resize it here by grabbing that little handle. And you can go ahead and now go ahead and check off step 4. So you can make it, we already did that. And at the top of the pane is the timer. You can see 49 minutes at the timer. You usually start off with an hour. I will try to rush through these. Again, I will try to go over issues in class. However, if I can't, please refer to the videos and your contact information. You have my contact information, and you'll have our Michael Jordan's, the instructor assistant assigned to the course. He will be able to also give you guidance on this issue. At the top of the pane is the timer. We talked about this. This is right here. This is how much is left in the lab. If you need to, certain labs will let you pause the lab. However, I do recommend that if you need to walk away, that you use the save button so that you save your area and you can continue into it. Do not click end unless you're going to be away for a very long time, maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Hit end, and that way you can restart the lab. So we talked about the top timer, the top right at the hamburger menu. This is exactly what we talked about here. They're talking about the hamburger menu here, 3 lines. Save, end, and split windows. Save will actually let you return to your content. Split windows will separate the certain panes, and the display icon will make it full screen. You can always exit full screen by pressing escape. Okay, and the full screen is right here. This is your full screen. This is your display settings. Okay. So we can go ahead and check off step 7. And glad I did this. If you missed a step, you're going to get this message, and it says you skipped ahead. So what this means is you can click OK, and usually your previous step that you checked off will be marked off already. So you don't have to worry about going back and doing that. So if you're using a Windows computer to access these labs, press the start button, and you notice it activates the taskbar on your PC. This may also cause the lab environment to exit full screen mode in some browsers. So if necessary, switch to full screen mode again. We've already covered this, so we're going to check this off. And then you can select the commands. Now, where are the commands? The commands are this lightning bolt here. If you open it up, you'll see you can select Control Alt Delete, Alt Tab, Windows key, type text. You have these other options in here. Okay, so you do have those. So we are going to check this off, and you can go to the type text, and the power menu will put the VM in the suspend state. And the final option, it's used to connect the final option is the reset gateway. Internet gateway of the command menu is used to reconnect the lab host data center if your connection is extremely poor or disconnected. So once you've done this, you always can scroll back up to see if you checked the steps off, and you can go back down and check the steps here, and you are done with step 10. And as you can see, our progress bar is gone. Now that you've seen the lab interface, let's take a look at the Windows 10 VM, and we can go ahead and check this off. Also, we do need to confirm our work, so check these off. As you can see, the task bar is, the progress bar is moving at the bottom, task completed, and then you can go here. Now let's go ahead and click next here where it says using a Windows VM. So in here, how do we connect to the PC? And the easiest way to tell you to do this is to go up here where it says Kali. You click on this, and now this will take you over to Windows 10. However, you can also click this, and it should take you over to the Windows 10 machine. So one of the things that you will need to do is press Control Alt Delete, especially if these are highlighted. These are hyperlinks to those commands. So you can always press this, and as you can see that it does that. So you do not need to always go to the lightning bolt. If it's available here, then it will go in. Now, again, as I said to you before, these little T's, these type texts, they only work in the Windows environment. Sometimes you will see that you're already logged in as this person. So all you really need to do is make sure your cursor's in the password field, and then press the type text button. And as you can see, it populates that field, and you can go ahead and hit next or enter. So now that's already done. So this environment's automatically going to contain certain utilities already built into the system. If you're having an issue and you need to see the bottom of the screen, there's a slider here that will bring it down so that you can see the slider part. If you need to search, and what you want to do in this Windows environment is to hit the search magnifying glass right here, and then you could type in a search. That is exactly what we will be looking at. So if you wanted to type something such as CMD, you could type in, or the command prompt, you could type CMD here, and it automatically will populate this with the results. So you could check off steps 2 and 3 right now. And now you can go ahead and enter the following command to create a new folder. So once you do this, you need to go ahead and click here, hit type text, and it will type the text in here and hit enter to create that. So now you can go ahead and check off step 4. You can always use the, whether you're working from command prompt or PowerShell, you can usually set the type text to input that information in. Sometimes you will need to press enter if it doesn't automatically. As you can see in this one, it did not. All it did was allow it to go through, and it has done that. So when an instruction reads enter, it'll be typed in, so informing you that it's bolded. So type text or the quoted item in the, and then press enter on your keyboard. Sometimes there will be a copy operation, and you could use the copy to clipboard option here, hyperlink, and this will select the text that you need and allow you to go ahead and paste it. A lot of times if you need to copy something, you can go ahead and do this and copy, and it will say copy to clipboard. Now when you're asked to close a window, you have a lot of options to do. So you can select the X in the top corner here, we can do this, or we can go over to File. You can right click and close. Sorry, not File. There may be a file, or in this case there is only a close, so you can close that. You can hit cancel. There's a couple of different options here that you can type exit as a command to exit the command prompt window or PowerShell window. That'll work also. If you need to maximize, in the top right corner, you can go ahead and, if you're in a command like we are here, oops, there we go. If you need to resize the window, you can always resize down by clicking this option here, and then resize back if you need to. If you also want to minimize the window, you can always use the minimize window. That's always going to work there, and it will keep it in reserve so that when you need to pull it back, it will pull up. Alrighty, so our next one is going to be, we've already done step 7, we're on step 8, and we're going to go to the search bar. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, my slider, hit this, search magnification glass, and we're going to type in PowerShell. Okay, so one of the things that's going to happen with PowerShell is that you need to run as administrator. So you're always going to right click on PowerShell, run as administrator, and this is going to give you the UAC window. You're always going to say yes on this, and this is going to let you get into this PowerShell command prompt. So we are done with steps 8 and steps 9. And now we can go ahead and use the command. So let's practice using this type text. You can click here, and you'll see that the get date command, the get -date command is inputted into PowerShell, and then you could hit enter in order to run that PowerShell. Now you can close the PowerShell window now. Check your steps off. And now you're familiar with the lab interface. So let's look at the Kali Linux VM that you're going to look at, that we're going to work in the next section. So let's go ahead and turn these off, check these off, sorry, that we've completed them. And as you can see, we're at 60. So in order to navigate to our, one of the other ways that you can go to your Kali Linux VM is, again, you could use the link here in the instructions part, or you could go here to the top and you can navigate between these two, whichever suits your fancy. Again, as I said to you, you do need to sign into Kali Linux. I will remind you every time that we do this, because there's always going to be a question when we're working on these. Hey, the password's not working, the command's not working, and it's just a simple, we didn't, the T is not there. What happened to it? So I will just reiterate this. It's not to say anything. It's just a friendly reminder. So once you've typed it in, you can go ahead and click login, and it's going to log in. Oh, it's saying the password's incorrect. So we're going to type it in again. Make sure your caps lock key is off. Linux is very case sensitive, so make sure you've done that. And now we're going to go ahead and select the cut. We've already logged into it. So we're going to take, I want you to take a look at this interface a little bit. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. A couple of things to be familiar with. There is a web browser, and some of the labs will have you do a web browser within Kali Linux. And some points it will tell you to do it on your personal computer. However, anything that we do in the terminal emulator will be in the Kali Linux environment, and you can select it here at the top menu bar, where you can see where everything is. Okay. This will minimize the desktop display. This is the root folder, and this is a simple text editor. And we've done this. You can see that this is the application icon that you will be on. This is where you can see all your Kali Linux applications. So when we're talking about doing something within Kali Linux, it'll be in this section of Kali Linux. Okay. There's a networking part. There's a bunch of icons that will let you change the network management application. That's also going to be in here. You can see that here on the top right. You can see the volume icons on the lower, on right here at the top. Sorry, lower Windows. Thank you. You'll see it's at 100%. You can see your time. You can log out. This is your log out button. You can always lock your screen, so on and so forth. So now we're going to play around with Terminal Emulator. So let's go ahead and open the Terminal Emulator by clicking the icon up here. We're going to check this off so that we keep our Windows nice. We're going to maximize it. Maximizing is a little bit different. You can see it's highlighted here. It's still the second icon. And then we're going to type in, as I said, let's always check these off. Sometimes I'll forget myself, so I'll just friendly remind you too. We're going to enter PWD, and we are going to hit enter. And as you can see, this pulls up the root path of which is our home directory. So this is one way how we will find what working directory we are in when we are executing. So in some of the labs, you'll be navigating to a different folder. So if you're having an error message, or getting an error message, you can always type in PWD to make sure that you're in that folder that you're supposed to be in when running the command. So now we have the terminal window open. We're going to type in IPA, which is a command switch. I use the word switch, but a parameter. And we could check the network adapter configuration. And as you can see, this is our network adapter information. if you only want to see the Ethernet, these are all your Ethernets here that are attached to this virtual machine. So this is ETH0 is the first Ethernet adapter in here, and then it goes 0 and then 1. If there was another one, there would be 2, followed by another one, that would be 3. So if we only want to see the statistics or the configuration of ETH0, you can go ahead and type IPA S ETH0. And here we go. Now you may have saw that I used a up arrow key to catch the previous command. That you can still use to save yourself some typing, especially with some of the longer commands that we have here. And let's go ahead and hit enter. Again, remember, Linux is case sensitive, so you cannot just type it in however you feel. Capital I, capital P, you have to type it in all in lowercase, or the case that it is being told. Okay. So we're going to leave terminal open for our next exercise. So we're going to go ahead and check off 7. Confirm you have access to Kali Linux VM, desktop menu, and we've opened the terminal window. And now we're going to go rest to the next lab activities. So you must submit a response. There's certain questions that are going to happen, and you must hit the score button. There's a lot of times in these labs, you will see something that if the exact command is not, you may be given the wrong wrong scoring, or you may feel it's wrong scoring. So remember, if it tells you to create a username, a user account, user 01, and then user 1, and you use user 1 or you use user 01, and they would be marked incorrect, meaning that when we get into these labs and you have an answer, a field to answer a question, if it's asking you something such as ETH0, it must be all typed in lowercase, or the case of how the instructions were laid out. So please remember that. So we're going to be on the Kali Linux VM, which we're already in, and we're going to enter, and this is an example, we're going to type the command hostname. Okay, so it is going to say Kali. So this is an example of one of the questions you will be asked and to score. Other ones may ask you to fill in the blank, and it must be in this case. So when you type hostname, if Kali is in lowercase, it must be in lowercase. So we're going to select lowercase Kali, and we are going to check this off, and we're going to hit score. And as exactly, you'll see congratulations, you've answered this question correctly. There are certain validations that need to be typed in. Again, these are a long configuration, so let's type in and see what we're talking about here. So if we type in IPA and you mistype, you hit up arrow, there we go, up arrow, A, and then you hit the pipe and you type grep ETH0, and you do something like this, and then you type in ETH0 underscore config.t, and you hit enter. It's going to run and create this, but if you want to, if we're validating it, it's going to, and it should give me an error message. And as you can see, it wasn't found. So what we have to do is correct that. And this is where double checking our commands are. And I did this on purpose to keep the eye out. And all you really need to do again is just hit the up arrow once, fix the command, and hit enter. And now, if you hit score, it found the path. So this is just an example of the issues that you could see in these labs. So now we have to put something in, fill in the blank. So here we have to enter the concatenate command. And if you're not typing, always make sure your focus is in the VM window. ETH 0 underscore config dot txt. So we're looking to see if this is in here. So let's take a look. Cat ETH, everything looks good. So let's hit enter. And then we're looking for an INET value. And this is going to be an IPv4 address. So you're going to be looking for something that has INET, which is right there. And you're going to be typing this in. Now, here's the thing. Read these carefully, because you can spend a lot of time on here, and one of the main problems can be because you entered something that you weren't supposed to. So in here, as you can see, do not enter slash or any numbers after it. So as you can see, the INET has a CIDR or a /24 behind it, which just tells us that it's a CIDR 20, has a /24 to it. So we don't need to enter that /24. So we're going to type in 10.1.16.66. And if we score this, and we did this with the slash, and you can see it's going to score it incorrectly. Again, make sure that you are reading this part here where it says do not. I wish it was bolded, would be nicer, but it's not. If you correct it and then rescore, it is going to give you the congratulations, you have answered the question correctly. So now we can close the terminal window by selecting the X in the top right corner. If there is no score button, it is just a step. If that's a question that you're pondering, you can just check these off and go on to the next. Check this off, and now we go to our comprehensive questions. So now you're going to see some comprehensive questions here. And it's going to ask you like some questions about which lab menu interface is used to maximize the presentation of the window to take full advantage of it. And once you answer these, you'll be able to see what are the 3 options available in the 3-line hamburger interface. Select all that apply. You select these, and then you can hit score. What are the tabs or menus in the VMs where the user credentials are displayed? So you can see them in 2 of them. I'll give you that hint. And commands must be entered manually into Kali Linux. And you'll have a couple questions here. Which of the following can be repeated if the first attempt is incorrect? So I'm going to give you some time to answer those questions, and I will pause the video and I will go over the answers. Okay, so going over the comprehensive questions. Question 1, the lab interface menu is used to maximize the presentation, that is the display. Take a full advantage, so you can take full advantage of the full screen if you need to. What options are available in the 3-line menu interface of the hamburger? Select all that apply. Split windows, end, and save are your answers. On what tabs or in what menus are a VM's username and password credentials displayed? Well, one is on the resource tab, and the second one is in the instructions. Kali Linux commands must be entered manually into the Kali Linux VM. That is true. Which of the following can be repeated if the first attempt fails or is incorrect? And you can do it to all of the above. Once you're completed with these, you can go to the graded lab section, And then we can go ahead, and it says that you must done everything. You can select submit to grade the lab, and then now you can see that there is 100% task completed, and you can click the submit button right here, and this is going to submit it for grading. And once this happens, it's going to give you your grade. This grade will go into your Canvas. Okay. Alrighty, thank you for watching.